Over the hills and far away, Teletubbies come to play.
1, 2, 3, 4. Teletubbies!
Time for Teletubbies. Time for Teletubbies. Time for Teletubbies. Time for Teletubbies. Tinky Winky.
Tinky Winky.
Dipsy. La la. Ho. Teletubbies.
Hello everyone, and welcome in this special video, I guess. It's not something I usually do, and I don't like talking, but I figured let's just do it for once. And right off the bat, I would like to apologize for my horrible sounding voice and accent. I hate it, so yeah. So recently I was thinking about some of my older projects, and most notably on Game Jolt, there was a game that I've made from 2018 to 2019 called SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake. And I want to look back at it and just kind of talk about my thoughts of the project overall, making it, the things I liked, disliked, and stuff like that. Especially because this game in particular means a lot to me. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a podcast / retrospective, I guess. There's going to be barely any editing. What you're seeing right now is me playing the collect mode from the game, and that's going to be like the only thing. I don't think I'll do any other editing, so yeah. I don't know where to start with. I'm doing this completely improvising, so yeah. Well, I guess I can talk about how I got the idea first. So yeah, in August 19, 2018, I was playing SlendyTubbies 3, I'm pretty sure, and I also wanted to do RPG Maker games because at the time that's what I was doing. In 2016, I worked on a trilogy of very, very bad fan games that I never finished, by the way, and you cannot play them. They are literally gone forever. Even on my computer. So yeah. And basically I wanted to do something new because I had just cancelled the previous year an original project, which I don't really want to talk about it that much. So I was playing SlendyTubbies 3, and then I got the idea to do it in RPG Maker game, an RPG Maker VX Ace. I do not know how you say it in English. I am so sorry, but basically an RPG Maker. And I thought the story mode could be possible, and I made a quick video announcing the project entitled SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake, which was now in production. And I said in the comments, I remember, that it was supposed to be a quick project for me, but I decided to share it publicly. That was not true. Young me was very terrible with trying to explain himself. Well, something like that. Basically, I wanted an excuse to make the game, even though at the time I was very confident that at some point I was going to cancel it. 4 years later, the complete edition released, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. And so I actually worked on it, and I was not very confident, but as time progressed, you know, the weeks, the months, I was becoming a lot more invested in the project, and it turned out to be one of the best projects I've ever worked on, because I had so much fun doing it, making the choices to match with the original game by ZWorks. You know, and I didn't even know if I could do the choices aside from the chapter 2 one, where you have two different paths, the cave and the mountains. I was certain I could do that, but all the other ones, in terms of dialogues and events, I was not sure at all. And I actually ended up making them, because I learned how to do that. See, that's the thing. RPG Maker is very simple, but also very complex. It's like a middle ground, you know? There are parts of it that are very easy, and there are other parts that are just too damn hard. But overall, making the whole project was not really hard, it was just time consuming. I remember making the maps, especially for the cave in chapter 2, was very time consuming. And I took a long time making it, at least like a couple of days. But then you have maps like the Teletubbies house, which was made in like an hour or two, because it was very simple. And the game released chapter by chapter, so I updated things every time there was a new update, because the chapters were free updates. Obviously, it's a fan game, and that was not the original plan. I wanted to release the full game on March 25th, 2019, but ended up delaying it and instead released it chapter by chapter. Chapter 0 released on September 26, 2018 as a demo. Chapter 1 with an improved Chapter 0 released on January 15, 2019. Chapter 2 released on May 31st. Like, I wanted to release it on May barely, so yeah, that was a nice call. And the final chapter with everything else in the game, so essentially the complete edition, released on August 19th, 2019, a full year after I started working on the project. So it came full circle. I love to do this whole thing. With Talia, I almost did that, but instead what happened was that on August 6, 2020, I made the concept of Talia officializing the project. And then a full year later, on August 6, 2021, I got the book in physical edition. So yeah, I like to wrap things around on the same dates. That's just something I love to do. So let's talk about some of the things in the game that I loved working on, some of the things I did not like working on, and some regrets. And let's start with that, because I just want to address something, and it's probably something I'm pretty ashamed of, but at the time I did not follow up any solution. The sprites that you see on the game, the main sprites of like Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Poe, the monsters, the Guardian, all of that stuff, all of these sprites were not by me. Instead, they were from another game that was like a SlendyTubbies RPG thing. And I basically borrowed them. And I tried to credit the original creator of the sprites, but the game just completely disappeared, and so I have no idea who made them. And if you play the credits of the game, you'll see sprites, I don't remember their names, something like that. And I'm very ashamed of this. That was like, well, almost 4 years ago now. But I do still feel bad and, well, like a thief for having done that. If I was ever to remake the game, which not at all, I would have definitely tried to make my own original sprites. But yeah, at the time, again, 2018, I was, 13? So, yeah, pixel was not really one of my skills. The only sprites I've made myself were edited versions of those sprites from that original game. And yeah, there's just no download link or whatever. I don't know who made it. There's just nothing. And yeah, that really sucks. But it is what it is at this point. I did not receive any complaints or whatever. Yeah, no angry comments at all, actually. There was one, like a couple days ago, that was confusing. I ended up deleting it because, well, it's just confusing as hell. But yeah, if I was working on the project right now, I would have definitely tried to make original sprites, or at least contact someone that could make original sprites. So yeah, moving on, because that's actually like the only regret I have. Okay, there's technically another one, but it's more of like a bad thing in the game, in my opinion. We'll talk about it later when we're going to be talking about cancelled projects. So that's going to be very interesting. So working on the game, there were several sections which I loved making, and other ones which I absolutely did not. But I think I had a ton of fun making most of the maps. You know, like for example in the collect mode you have the I don't remember the titles of the maps, but it's this maze one where there's just like a ton of monsters. I loved working on this one because it's almost completely accurate to the original one, I'm pretty sure. I haven't rechecked anything. Again, I'm doing this completely improvised, but that was really cool to do. And there was also the mountains. I loved working on the mountains. It's just this aesthetic, you know, with the snow and all. I really love this. I have good memories of this. And again, I also have bad memories of doing maps. And I'm going to be talking about this again. The cave in chapter 2 was such a pain in the ass that it was exhausting making it. Trying to make it make sense. There were also notes in the game, in the original game. There are notes that you can find. I had to find the correct locations to place them and all of that stuff, and it was really tiring, really boring. And when I was done, I didn't even feel satisfied because it's one of my least favorite sections of the game. So yeah, I really liked working on the satellite station, I think it was, in chapter 3, where you meet Ron and all that stuff. That was really, really awesome. Again, loving the aesthetic and all. And what was really cool in my opinion is that for all the maps and all, I used the sprites from the game maker because they just fit. Yeah, in the original game, a lot of the models are actually assets that were bought or free to use, you know. And that's not a bad thing at all, you know. For a fan game, I think this is completely fine, you know. But then that made it easier for me to translate the maps from the Unity engine to RPG Maker. Well, I recreated them. I did not how to say this, I did not put them in like a grinder that just turned them from 3D to 2D. No, not at all. I had to recreate all of them with a lot of reference from my own playthroughs of the game, but also from stuff in the wiki and all that. So yeah, the mountains was a lot of fun. Doing that was really cool. In the original demo of chapter 0, I'm pretty sure most of the maps were individual ones, you know. You have the Tubby house exterior, which was just a rectangle with the house exterior. Then you had some of the paths from the chase scene where Poe is chased by Tinky Winky. Those ones were also separate cubes at rectangles. Basically, there wasn't really anything concrete. It was several short maps that were all together. But in the final game, I do think for Chapter 0, I think it's again those same cube maps, rectangles, all that stuff, because it's a story mode. You need to go to the right places and all. But for the collect mode and I'm pretty sure there's an explorer mode where you can go around all the maps and all. I had to create a full map combining of these individual smaller maps to form just one big playground, and that was so cool to do. I remember a lot of fun connecting all of them and improving them in some ways. That was really awesome, and one of the things I love doing. For the mountains, I'm pretty sure it was a full map that I made first and foremost. I don't think I combined them. There's a chance. Again, I did not verify doing this completely improvised, but yeah, doing a full map of this was really cool. And these are probably my favorite parts of the game. Just doing entire recreations, you know, were a lot of fun. In the extras mode, in the extras menu of the complete edition, there are several options. You have the collect mode, you have the survival mode, I'm pretty sure you have the explorator mode, and you have like a character trivia. So I'm gonna go check very quickly on my phone. So I'm searching for this. I will say the collect mode is probably my favorite part of the game because, again, of the maps and all, but also because it was so much fun to place all the custards and try to figure out a way to make a collectible mode usable. I think I found it. So yeah, there's an other menu, and I'm pretty sure you could explore the maps and view in the trivia. Speaking of which, the trivia is probably another part I really don't like because of the character descriptions that you see and are from the wiki. Again, so it's like the sprites for the Teletubbies. I do not know who were the wiki and all, but I figured that I figured I could use them. So yeah, I'm sorry again, and I think proper credit should have been made. It's just young me is a dumbass. So in the collect mode, well, first of all, again, I love it, and making the whole custard system was actually very complex because at some point there needs to be a start and an end. But the custards are, you know, everywhere in the map. What happens when you collect all of them, you know? How do I make that work in RPG Maker? And again, that's what I mean when I say that it's both hard but easy. Because what I did is that the custard that is right in front of you when you spawn in is basically your checkpoint. It's here that you start, and it's the last one that you can collect. I'm still not sure about how people feel about this whole mechanic, but it was the best way to make it work. So I'm fine with it, you know? And yeah, there are two maps called White Blood, I'm pretty sure, and Together. I want to quickly talk about them because they are based off cancelled projects. White Blood was supposed to be a Final Fantasy fan game in RPG Maker, and I did start it, and it's probably, you know, I've made some pretty bad chef projects overall. Red series has its qualities, but big falls. I worked on auto custom mods, which I don't like. I don't like at all. They might be fun to do, but the final result I do not like. That's why I got rid of all of them. But White Blood especially. You see my trouble when I was making Anomaly? If you remember this from Game Short or Discord, White Blood was twice the pain in the ass. So it was pretty bad. I had the story, I had nothing literally. I just started it with Afton and all, did a nice little intro, I guess. And I also had a contact with an artist which turned out to be a bit of an asshole. So yeah, just a lot of bad things. I then tried to make it a book in 2019. That was the worst thing possible. 2021 was a better time in terms of me making books, and now I am working on the fourth one of Talia, so yeah, that turned out good, but at the time, not at all. But you can see how me wanting to write a book was an idea I had for years, so yeah. But it was a whole mess, but I did work on the full map, which I really liked. So I've put it in the collect mode of SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake, and I do not regret the decision actually. I think it's a lot of fun to have a Final Fantasy themed map in this fan game, especially as someone who grew up with the franchise and, well, has all the books, loves the games, almost all of them. The only one I actually don't like that much is Otaka Sunlight, but I do like all of the games, you know, so I think it was a nice way to throw in a bit of FNAF without making it feel forced, you know. It's not like you're in story mode, you're walking around and then suddenly, oh my god, there's Freddy Fazbear. No, it does not work like that. Obviously it does not work like that. The other map, Together, is a very interesting one which I want to talk about. Not just for SlendyTubbies for RPG Remake, but also for my writing career. Well, it's not a career, but hobby. Basically, Together was an original project that is basically still stuck in development hell, because it has 2 versions so far, and there might be a third one later. Let me explain. In 2017, so literally almost 5 years ago, it's insane to think that 2017 was 5 years ago because it was one of my favorite years. There's a lot of things. FNAF 6, the holidays, a bunch of stuff I really like. Anyway, I had the idea to work on an original project called Together. On April 30th, 2017, I completed the first chapter in like 2-3 days, I don't know, but it was very quick and it was a lot of fun. And I did chapter 2 on May, chapter 3 on June, and I cancelled the project midway through chapter 4. Why? Because I was making up the story as it went on, and at that point I not only matured, I was a little more professional, and also the story was going nowhere, the game was going nowhere. It was basically, chapter 2 was basically a ripoff of Bendy, you know, Bendy and Nick Machine, and it was just a mess that I just cancelled, understandably so. However, in 2019, almost 3 years ago, again, where the hell has time gone by? This is insane. In 2019, at literally again April 30th, I released a new version of the first chapter of Together, which I worked on for at least 2 months, and that one was a lot better, for sure, you know. And then I released chapter 2 in October of that same year, and things were going great, you know. I even used, like, on Steam there's a thing called Vikatsu that you can download, and it's basically you can make your own anime characters, and I made some for the game to put some screenshots, put them in poses and all. It's very limited, but it was actually a lot of fun to do that, and to have proper character designs and artworks with it. You know, I still have those models actually, and I still have Vikatsu. And yeah, and chapter 2, while I was working on it, I did had a lot of struggle to make it great. The first one had a lot of problems which I fixed, and it is much better. But chapter 2, it had some problems, but overall it was not bad at all. The problem with chapter 3 and why it was never made was a serious lack of motivation. Not only that, but also I was not interested at all. And I did come up with the rest of the story, and I did like it, but in the end it never got made because lack of motivation, no longer interested, and I basically just silently cancelled it. And I'm actually quite sad I did that, because I do have chapters 1 and 2 written on paper, so I have the full story, the full script, but I don't have chapter 3, and I was very confident I had it. This sucks. But I would gladly revive the project a third time as a book, but it's not planned, you know. Like, it's just, there's nothing concrete, whatever. It's just an idea in the back of my mind, like at the very bottom of my to-do list in terms of writing stuff. But, you know, I wouldn't mind reviving the project with my writing experience, and also my experience in making a better story overall. Entire Bad Mirror, for example, the story is a lot better because it connects better to the previous books, but also to itself. Events that happened in the second half are linked to the first half. You know, there's no massive cut or whatever. There's not really anything that's forgotten except for one character that basically went from secondary character in book 1 to cameo in book 2 to just being mentioned in book 3, and now he's not even appearing in book 4. It's a bit of a bummer, but that sort of thing happens, and I can't really do anything about that one. So yeah. But anyway, going back to SlendyTubbies RPG Remake. Collect mode is my favorite part of the game, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud that I made a complete edition, because if I had just made the story mode, in the end, I think it would have felt uncompleted, if that makes sense. Unfinished, there we go, unfinished. So adding the collect mode was a great idea. Now, I'm not going to talk much about the story mode, as in the actual story, because that's the original game, but basically it's an on-point transition. You know, it's almost copy and pasted, you know, you could say that. The story is literally 99% of the same thing, except one bit, which I won't talk about. Quick spoiler warning for chapter 3, obviously, and just the whole game. It's 28 minutes in, and I'm just saying that. I am so sorry. But basically, in the original game, you could die against the final phase of Poe and get a special secret ending, you know. There are 4 endings in the original game. You have one where you defeat Poe, and it's basically the good ending, you know, where you prepare yourself to fight the newborns. You have the one where you join Nunu, and well, you become evil. You have oh yeah, you basically join Nunu, and then just before you turn evil, you refuse, and so you're forcefully made evil, if that makes sense. You're the crying tubby. And then you were supposed to have the 4th ending, where you get killed by Poe, you know, on battle, and it's a bad ending, you know, because the army is not strong enough. And that ending was literally impossible for me to do in the game. Like, literally, I had no choice. I did not. That's the only thing from the original game that's not exactly represented in the RPG Maker version. It's just not there, because I had no idea how to make it. I still have no idea. Yeah, that's a bummer. So instead, I made a secret ending of my own, and it's a weird one. I don't remember everything, but I'm pretty sure it's like Poe discovering that Nunu was evil all along. In chapter 0, there was like a secret path, and it would lead to this ending. I don't remember, I need to rewatch it, but I'm not a big fan of it. But it was my solution to make up for the lost ending, you know. And yeah. Speaking of things I've added on my own, throughout the game, you could find hidden fan arts from friends and all, that are scattered on the collect mode in like the dream, for example. And yeah, that was a fun thing. I do remember some of them. There's a Tochika drawing that I've made in January 2016, so 6 years ago, when I was almost 11. So this feels weird, but it's a lovely way to put in some bonus Easter eggs. Now, back when I was working on the game, I did plan a chapter 4 because Zealworks was planning a chapter 4 of the game, and there was like a demo and all. It was actually there was a lot that was done before the whole thing just got scrapped because Senecan, I think, left the project and Zealworks and basically just killed it. And so I decided to just kill my version of the chapter because, well, what's the point? And there was also the What Comes After YouTube series, and I did thought about making it in RPG Maker, but ultimately I did not see the point of it because I don't even know if the series is completely finished. Like, there were 3 episodes, but they did not feel like a proper conclusion, so I don't even know. But I'm not gonna be doing it. And I did thought again of doing my own sequels of SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake. So not even based off storylines like the original chapter 4 or the What Comes After series. No, literally my own stories. That did not really go anything beyond confirmation that I was working on it. There were several teasers, and I'm pretty sure those teasers were about the What Comes After series. Yeah, there were several teasers for What Comes After that were left over, and that's something I never even confirmed, I'm pretty sure, publicly that I was working on. It led to nowhere. It's never made, and it never will be. Okay, let's talk about why this game actually means so much to me. SlendyTubbies was my introduction to horror games, I'm pretty sure. Like, at least the original or the second one, but I remember SlendyTubbies. And to think that it's turning 10 years old to this year on December 12th, it feels really weird. It truly feels just almost awkward in a way. To think that this indie series is this old is really seriously giving me, well, not anxiety or whatever, but it feels weird. It really feels weird. And I remember it. That's the most important part. I remember SlendyTubbies. And I've witnessed the release of SlendyTubbies 3. When it released, I played it, and I finished it, and I loved it. That was really cool. And to think that I started working on the RPG version less than a year after the original game's release, when I realized that, looking back, I'm surprised, because usually someone would get the idea like much later, because of like a relevancy or something. But this was, one of the peak. 2018 was one of the peaks of the game, constant updates and all that stuff, of the multiplayer mode. So yeah, overall, it was doing great. And I made a project, and it turned out to be the most successful project I've done. On GameShort or even YouTube or whatever. On YouTube right now, my most popular video is the Complete Edition trail, and it's the only video I've ever made that reached over 1,000 views. That's bloody insane for me. And if I go on the GameShort page, there's 17,000 views and a ton of downloads. I'm checking right now for all time. There's almost 6,000 downloads, and that's completely insane for me. And I do wish Taya gets this kind of success at some point, but yeah, I'm very happy with how this project did. And it's probably the only game of the ones I've made over the years that I'm proud of, and that I'm actually glad that it be online, There are other games I've made, a lot, that I've just listed and all that stuff. You can still access them if you have the links, you know, to the game show pages and all. But I'm not proud of them and all, and I feel ashamed of some of them. So I just make them private. But SlendyTubbies for RPG Remake means a lot to me, and it was the only game that I worked on that I had so much happiness, you know, during production. I loved making it so much. It had its up and downs, obviously, but overall it was one of the best experiences of my life in terms of fan content. Obviously, working on Taya right now is better for me, but not gonna lie, SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake is still the most important game of my life right now in terms of creating content. And I'll forever be grateful, you know, that one random day I had the idea to do that, and I actually finished it. It's the only game I've made that truly feels complete, because you have a story mode, you have a collect mode, you have a survival mode, which, by the way, small little sideway. Another thing I don't like about the game, the fights and all, I made the player too overpowered. You literally cannot lose, which is stupid, and I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know, you have a survival mode, you have an explore mode and all that stuff, and in the end, I am proud of it, and I forever be, I think. You know, even if it's silly, even if it's dumb, even if it has a lot of flaws, I still love it, you know. And I don't think I'll ever be able to do something else that's going to give me this level of happiness when making, other than Taya. But again, Taya is a book series. We're talking about an RPG Maker game, and yeah, that's why overall this game means a lot to me, and to this day it still does. You know, like very recently I've made most of the videos about the game public again, because it's a part of the Circus Productions. You know, I'm considering it like that, just like Fast and Furious Plus and all that stuff. It may have my old username, which I'm very ashamed of, but it matters to me a lot. I even made a new logo and artwork for the occasion. Right now, as of me recording this, it's April 19th, 2022. So, in like 4 months, the game is turning 3 years old, and I don't have anything planned. But this video is basically like a conclusion to it. I even made in 2019 an anniversary edition of Chapter 0, which had a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and you can check that out. You can check the game and this anniversary edition right now on GameJolt. It's completely free to download and all. Easily like my favorite project in GameJolt out of all of the ones I've done. Fight Phrase or whatever and all together, it's just nothing is at this level, and that's saying a lot to me. It's a silly game, dumb game, but fucking hell do I love it. I just completely love it. So what comes after? You know, am I going to be doing other things? Well, obviously no. I feel like I've stopped making games since January 2021, and it's a decision that I'm glad I've made, but I would be lying if I said that I missed working on SlendyTubbies for RPG Remake. You know, I actually kind of miss it, because now it feels like an archive in my head, and not like a proper memory or a proper experience, if that makes sense. It's a distant memory. There we go. And yeah, but I'm not going to be doing anything on GameJolt anymore, except to promote like Taya and the blog and all. And yeah, Taya is the main thing I'm doing, and that's also ending really soon. Well, this summer. So that's gonna feel weird. I still plan on doing Taya content, obviously, but the main thing, it's ending. It's ending with book 4, and that's gonna feel really weird. It's basically going to be like finishing the SlendyTubbies 3 RPG Remake Complete Edition. When I finished it on July 2019, I felt extremely weird. I like some sort of relief, but also sadness. It's really silly, but yeah. Still, Will I be doing some sort of podcast like this for Talia? I mean, we're in the middle of it. It's very recent. SlendyTubbies RPG Remake is almost 3 years old, so yeah. No, I don't think I will be doing another one of these. It's just, it's exceptional. I'm in the mood. I thought, why not? I have a very cringy voice, which makes me uncomfortable, especially these past few weeks. I'm keeping that private, but yeah, it's personal reasons. But overall, I love talking about that. The game and all, the fun facts. I probably should have organized it a bit better. But, oh well, I wanted to do it improvising, you know. Like I was someone talking to you, you know, in front of you about the whole thing. And yeah, and again, completely improvised. So yeah, you know, SlendyTubbies RPG Remake. We can pay it right now, I guess. And one more time, I am so sorry to the person that made the sprites for the characters. And also to the wiki, I guess. I'm sorry I, air quotes, stole your content. Young me was dumb. But now I finally forgiven myself. Because I don't think I would have been fine for the rest of my life if I did not talk about this. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm going to be going back on working on Talia and other things. And yeah, I've been thinking of doing a title card for the main series because I love title cards. We'll see. But yeah. A quick thank you to ZeroWorks for making SlendyTubbies, obviously. It feels weird, again, that it's going to be a decade old. I cannot talk. Jesus Christ. It's going to be 10 years old, and SlendyTubbies 3 is going to be 5 years old in August 28, 2022. Yeah, 2022. But yeah, I figured now was the best timing to do this. Especially a little video. I do not know if my gameplay is going to be good or not. We'll see. I need to record a lot of things because, Jesus Christ, I've been talking for over 45 minutes. So I'm going to be ending it here. I have making this video and working on the game and all. So yeah. Goodbye for now. I do not know what video it's going to be after this one. But yeah. See ya.
Boo!
Boo! Boo! Boo! Boo!